Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. As you know, I'm in the car, I'm out and about, right? So I wanted to pop on in and kind of give you an update on where we are with our homeschool journey. Bear with me, I may not be looking directly in the camera, but you know, you're okay with that. You're used to me, you know, driving and chatting at the same time, right? Okay. So, I think we are between weeks 38 maybe and week 40 or 41, but I will give you the exact timing in the description box or in the title of this video. But during our homeschool or during my homeschool break, mommy hiatus, because you know I was giving birth, you know, yay, baby boy, his name is Micah, if I have not told you that already. But we actually did a lot of independent work. My son was basically responsible for all of his work, but don't worry, I prepared him very well during the first 2 semesters of homeschool. Oopsie, I did not mean semesters, I meant the first 2 quarters of homeschool, which is all part of semester 1. So I prepared him very well during that time because we had teaching, instructional days, and then we also had independent days where he was responsible to complete all work that was assigned during the instruction days on his independent solo days, right? So for this, I would say about 3 months, three and a half months, all of quarter 3 basically for our homeschool, he was basically solo, I would say 70 to 80% of the time. So what I did was I prepared for the season in which I was going to take that long extended break. And all he did was follow my instructions. You know, he logged on to Evernote to get his work. He printed it out in many cases to help him keep track of it. He popped it in his student agenda, kept track of his hours. And what I did on a weekly basis was I actually met with him once a week during that 3.5 month period for about, I would say 30 minutes. And we would go over his work, and I would, you know, make sure he calculated his homeschool hours properly. Although in the state of Texas, I do not have to calculate my course hours. We don't have to track anything. We don't have to turn anything in. If you watch some of my past videos, you'll know that we started doing that in the 2nd semester of his 5th grade year because I wanted to get him accustomed to tracking hours, keeping an agenda, time management, tracking his workload, you know, things of that nature, assignment due dates and so forth, in preparation for middle school. And I'll pop that video in the description box below where I talk about my homeschool transitions and how I get my child prepared in the 5th grade and in the 7th grade for various transitions, just to prepare them for middle and high school, right? So like I said, he was basically solo independent, and he did fairly well, guys. He did fairly well. What I will say about that time period is that it taught him how to be patient. It taught him how to be confident in his work and in himself. It taught him how to use other resources as his first line of defense if he needed assistance with anything. And again, I was teaching him these concepts and life skills during the 1st semester anyway. You know, mommy is not your first line of defense. If you have a question, if you need help with something, you don't just come run to mom or dad and seek an answer. You know, it's called a dictionary, it's called Google, it's called YouTube, it's called Khan Academy, it's called all the other resources that we paid for, made available to you, so that you can, you know, help yourself. You know, help me help you by helping yourself, okay? So he got it, he's good. He actually, in my opinion, did great during this time period. During the 3 months, we also did poetry tea time. I was not consistent in poetry tea time, guys. I thought I would be, but I was just tired, you know. The last month of my pregnancy, it wasn't difficult or anything, but I was tired. I was sleepy. And if I wasn't, I just really didn't feel like homeschooling. Okay, so we didn't really do poetry tea time. We probably, out of the entire 3.5 months, we probably did poetry tea time maybe 5 to 6, maybe 7 times. Shame, sorry. But, you know, he was okay with it. I told him, if you want to do poetry tea time, you know, go ahead and do it yourself. But he's like, Mom, it's not the same experience. I need you to get up and make me some hot cocoa or make me some tea or something. So what we did was I taught him how to make hot cocoa and tea himself so that he can go ahead and be self-sufficient to do that. So he did that for a few days, but he was like, you know, Mom, the experience is just not the same. So we'll just table that for, you know, a different period of time. So that's what happened to poetry tea time. We did it for, you know, a few times. We enjoyed it the times that we did do it, but because I was just so tired, we didn't do it all out like I initially planned and really wanted to. But that doesn't mean that we can't do it now or during some other season or in the summer. You know, we can definitely do that. So, and more than likely we'll at least finish the book that we started for poetry tea time in the future, in the near future. Let me think, what else? Oh, okay, Saxon Math 7-6. That's the math that my son is in. We stopped on, I want to say it was like lesson 90, I think 90, between 85 and 90 is where we stopped. And the reason why we stopped is because my son kind of plateaued. He didn't plateau. Oops, I'm sorry, I got a call coming in. Hit the cancel that. He didn't plateau in terms of just being lost or not knowing the information. He plateaued in like being bored with the curriculum. I love Saxon Math, and I told my son, I know since the beginning you did not like Saxon Math because, you know, he told me, you know, it's boring, you know, it's too many problems. It's too much of a spiral approach. He feels like he's doing like too many of the same problems. He's calling again, my son. Hold on, guys. It's like too many of the same problems every time he gets to do it. So I told him, you know, we're going to push on through. We're going to get this done until we get to a certain point. And that certain point was like 80, again, between lessons 85 and 90. And I told him at that point in time, and we were done, I want to say in March. We got to that point in March. So we were really ahead of the game in terms of math. I told him, okay, what we'll do is we'll do like an online course for you where it takes a unit study approach, I would say, for certain concepts. So the concepts he got. The concepts that we did not do together, which is like circumference of a circle, things of that nature, or area of a triangle, you know, we did not do that. However, he's still going to get that education and get that information through the online course that I signed him up for. We found something called OutSchool. Guys, I really like OutSchool. Side note, for the entire month of June, let me tell you, my son's birthday is in June, and normally what we're going to do is, what he normally does in June is he has the entire month of June off to do whatever he wants to do. So since we're homeschooling, he's still going to get the entire month of June to do whatever he wants to do. Normally he goes to a lot of camps, enrichment or sports camps, camps that his friends from public school normally goes to, right? So he does that. But this year, since we found OutSchool, he has opted to, you know, not attend those traditional week-long camps during the month of June. He has opted to instead take courses in OutSchool. So he has courses scheduled for, you know, kitchen science, a Minecraft club, a online book club, a YouTube course on how to start a YouTube channel for kids, a watercolor course. Like he has like 2 courses every week for the entire month of June. So that's what he decided to do. So the money that we saved, or we budgeted for the month of June, or for his summer camps, all that is going to OutSchool. And I'll link in the description box below how we budget for our homeschool. So again, that money that we budgeted for the summer is basically going to OutSchool, and I still saved like more than 50% doing OutSchool. So I actually am saving money. So keep doing OutSchool, son. I'm okay with that, no problem. So yeah, so what was I saying? So the side note, OutSchool, month of June, he normally gets the entire month off for his birthday. He goes to camps. Instead of going to camps, he's doing OutSchool courses. I already gave you a few examples of that. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Online course for math. He's taking a course on OutSchool called Middle School Math. And basically what that course is doing in a matter of 8 or 9 weeks is teaching him everything we learned in Saxon Math 7-6. Really? Everything that we learned thus far in Saxon Math 7-6, which took 9 months, is going to take 8 to 9 weeks for him to do in this online class. So once he's done with that class, which is going to be at the end of May, he's going to take a pre-algebra prep class, which is another 9 weeks, right? So after this middle school math class, the pre-algebra prep class, after he's done with that, that would have covered all the concepts that we would have learned from chapter 1 to chapter 120 or chapter 122. I forget how many chapters Saxon Math 7-6 has. But the whole point is, in 18 to 20 weeks, guys, he will have learned everything he would have learned in that entire curriculum. Okay, so once he's done with that, we'll go ahead and jump into pre-algebra, again with art of problem solving, and or I might keep up with Saxon Math. Another math curriculum that I found that we're going to use alongside the pre-algebra is a curriculum called Learn Math Fast. Yeah, it starts from book 1. We're going to do book 1 through book 4 alongside pre-algebra when he's in the 6th grade. And book 1, it literally starts from 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 4 plus 3. What is that? It literally does the foundation basics, but my son will probably get through that entire book in a month. But I'll do a separate video and a review of that specific curriculum, Learn Math Fast, and a separate video probably sometime in the summer. But let me see what else. So our language arts, we are basically done with that. We may have maybe 2 weeks left of stuff to do with that curriculum. For history, I did not hit history the way I anticipated on hitting history this year, because I plan to do history in the second semester of our homeschool, but again, because I had that long extended mommy break, I was unable to hit history the way I wanted to. But we still talked about certain topics in a unit study approach. And when I say unit study approach, I'm not talking about I'm not saying we chose a topic and we used it cross curricula or cross subjects, a history topic, and I did art, and I did language arts, and then I did math with it or something like that. No, when I say unit study approach, or maybe I should say topical approach, what I did was choose a topic, choose a person, choose an event, and then we dived into that. So with history, we talked about Native Americans, we talked about the Constitution, Bill of Rights, the 13th Amendment. We talked about elections. We watched some of the debates that are taking place right now for civics, in terms of, who is running on the Democratic ticket, if anybody is running on the Republican ticket. We actually watch those town halls right now. As of this video, there aren't any debates, but we watch the town halls, and then we, bring in some rhetoric with it, or some logic with those discussions. So if a candidate was asked the question, we'll talk about, did they avoid the question? If they avoided the question, what type of fallacy is that, and things of that nature. We talked about Underground Railroad and Harriet Tubman, dived really deep into that. We did Carter G. Woodson. We talked about Marcus Garvey, dived deep into those things as well. And we talked about Hidden Figures, the book and movie. George Washington Carver. You know, we did stuff like that. For African American Studies, we hit hard on that. We spent, like, guys, 6 months on the West African empires, Mali, Ghana, and the Songhai Empire, to include Sandoetu, hopefully I'm saying his name properly, and Mansa Musa, the Nile River, and Sahara Desert. We spent like 6 months on that. My son just really wanted to keep diving into that, so I let him. So because we took so long with that, we didn't really go into a lot of other stuff. We talked about Egypt, and right now he's in an online book club, not with Outschool, with a different thing. And with that book that he's reading, he got interested into Greek mythology, so he went to the library, got a lot of books on Greek mythology. So right now that's what he's into. So, you know, dive into it, no problem. We're gonna do it next year anyway with world history, ancient times. But if your child is interested in something, dive into it. It doesn't mean that you need to, you know, teach them anything on it, but facilitate the process of learning by making resources available to them and telling them, hey, have at it, learn it, ask questions, and then go from there. You don't have to like lesson plan and be all formal about it. Let your kids do them. It's called self-directed learning, okay? Interest-led learning. They learn better like that, in my opinion, with you guiding them and just facilitating the process and making resources available to them. So I think that was it, guys. That's our homeschool update. The video is almost 30 minutes long. I didn't mean to do that, so I might cut this video into 2 parts. One about the project week and one about our homeschool update. So as always, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe, hit that like button, share with anyone who you may think would be interested in the content. And as always, guys, homeschool on. Keep homeschooling on. Just keep homeschooling on, which basically means push through, even if you are stressed, even if there is a lot going on, even if, you know, you just don't feel like it. Breathe, slow down, take a break if you need to, but keep homeschooling on. Be blessed, guys, and as always, make it a great day.